Moment you've all been waiting for. Boxing brothers Wladimir and Vitaly Klitschko are in town to promote their new, I'm quite nervous, new documentary about their rise to the top of the heavyweight division. The brothers, who hold all the versions of the heavyweight championship between them, have recently conquered two of Britain's best and controversial heavyweights, David Haye and also Dereck Chisora. The reason why I'm a little bit nervous. Wladimir Klitschko with me here in the studio. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. Tell us why you're in town.
Well, I've been in London many times in my life, but this time for 2 days I'm promoting the film. And thank you for having me. I would love to share my thoughts about
Tell us about the movie. It's you and your brother as you grow up.
We just had the premiere yesterday, last night, and I was surprised how many fans do we have here. And actually there was the idea from Sebastian Denhart, from the movie director, that he was one of many asking us for shooting a documentary, and we denied. But he came over to us and he convinced us, and he said one line that actually made the deal. He said, guys, there are a lot of fans out there and they have a lot of questions, and I think that is going to be best way to give a lot of answers for a lot of questions.
But isn't it too early, because you're still fighting? You've still got a lot of life
isn't
to
too
live
early?
still.
And you know what? He said, no, it's just the right time, and he convinced us, and I'm really happy that he did it, because he also asked, if we're gonna shoot documentary, your parents have to be there.
Yeah.
And our parents were never at the front of the cameras, and they were never give any interviews, and that was first time they did it. And since we lost father last year, I think it's great. Now nothing can be changed, and people can get more to know about boxing if people were not involved in boxing, and they will get more about Klitschko brothers, and especially if you know, and when you know, and how you know it, that apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So they will see also our parents, and much more, because this movie has a thriller, it has a comedy, it has drama, and for a female you got to be careful, because it has a little bit of horror too.
It has a little bit of what?
Of horror.
Oh, does it? Okay. Do you think when you finally finish boxing you might be a Bond baddie or something like that? Do you want to be a sort of silver screen star?
I think, can you imagine, I mean, if we stand up, I'm 6'5", so I have to find my movie partners.
I'm sort of slightly... Yeah, that sort of gives you an idea of just how tall he is.
Partners as tall as
I'll stand on a box, honestly, I'll be very happy. Now, we had loads of emails.
I think I will have not so much chances to do.
Oh, I think you'll be great. Neil Dickinson has sent us an email. He says, hello, Wladimir. I've been a huge fan of you and your brother, Vitaly. You are great gentlemen, ambassadors and role models, and I congratulate every success that you have both achieved. You are a credit to your family and your nation, which is great to hear, isn't it?
Who was that?
That was a guy called Neil Dickinson who sent an email.
Neil.
Yeah.
Neil, thank you very much for such a pleasant words. I'm usually taking compliments like that from a female, not from a man. But it's okay, you know, I'm taking it. And thank you very much.
The reason I bring it up, though, is because there are not always very gentlemanly people in your sport, especially of late. And I'm thinking of Dereck Chisora and I'm thinking of David Haye. Neither of them have been particularly complimentary about you. And I think that we're looking at this picture now. I mean, how offensive did you find that? That's him with with you and your brother's
My parents
head.
didn't like to see that picture, that both their sons, the heads were cut off and their bloody bodies were on the canvas, and some dude was holding the hands with the heads. And something that really upset me as well, and it was very personal. But you know what? It's not about David Haye, and of course you mentioned the other name, Dereck Chisora.
Who spat water at you, and you did nothing about it. That was amazing that you absolutely didn't rise to the challenge or the bait at all.
Trust me, it was so difficult. I was sick, psychologically sick for 3 days afterwards, and you can imagine what kind of abilities I have to tell him that he was wrong. But I didn't, and there was certain reason why I didn't.
What stopped you?
Well, it was my attention that Dereck Chisora wants to get disqualified from the fight, and if I started the fight, the entire event gonna go down. And of course, that was Vitaly's night, not my night, my brother's night.
He wasn't even fighting you, was he?
He was in the ring, and he was right behind me, and something disgraceful. As many people said, including my father, that with a word you can punch harder than with a fist. And it was difficult to hold yourself back, but I'm glad that I did it.
They're fighting together, Dereck Chisora and David Haye, at West Ham a little bit later on, even though neither of them are presently recognised by the British Boxing Board of Control. How do you think about that? Do you think that fight should go ahead?
I think that,
who will you support?
That this example of Dereck Chisora, one more time, not talking about David Haye here, of Dereck Chisora, that he's sending a wrong message to the young people and youth that are following in the footsteps of athletes. And I think such a behavior at Vitaly last fight with slapping and spitting in the face, I think he slapped and spit in the face to a lot of fans and a lot of champions from the past, as Max Schmeling, Joe Louis, Ali, Foreman, and even Lennox Lewis, because they've been working to polish this sport and to make it as glamorous as possible. And I think this example puts the sport down.
Mm-hmm. So if you had to choose one of them to support in that fight, which one would it be?
I'm not going to promote this fight, but I have to tell you my opinion about it. And I think that if it's happening on the British soil and they got the license from Luxembourg, they should go to Luxembourg and fight there.
Mm-hmm. You've got other skills as well. You've got a PhD in sports science. Is that right?
Yes.
So, given that you know all about how the body works, why on earth do you put yourself in a position where you get knocked about in the ring? I was going to say beaten up, but you're not generally beaten up.
Well, it's in a certain way, boxing is also like a science, and you have to understand it. And it took me a lot of time to understand how the game works, and it works actually as a chess game. It's not just about getting in the ring and fight. It's about not to get hit and knock eventually your opponent out. And that's the art of boxing and also science. You have to learn your opponent psychologically inside out, and mental strength is one of the important makers. Either you're going to break it or you're going to make it.
When was the last time you had a fight with your brother?
Well, it's actually in the documentary, in the Klitschko documentary, and explains that one time, and all the younger brothers will understand me, because older brother is always taking care of the younger one, and he wants to be super protective, and older brothers are trying to, you know, kind of guide the youngers their life. And at a certain time I said to Vitaly, you know what, brother, I really love and respect you, but you have to stay out of my training camp, and you have to leave me alone, and I will do it my way, how I want to do it, and just please stay out. And you know what, it was difficult to accept for him, but he had to, and eventually this distance to each other made us really close.
Will you ever fight in the ring? We've had a lot of emails asking whether you'd ever fight in the ring with your brother.
There is no money in this world that's going to make us fight. And there's another question probably, who is going to win if they fight? The Klitschko mother gonna win, because he will not allow to happen it, and if it's gonna happen, then the winner gonna be a loser, if you philosophically understand what I mean, and it's gonna break our mother's heart, and there is no money to fix it.
Talking about your brother, he's very involved in Euro 2012 and promoting the Ukraine. There's some concern here in the UK about fans going to the Ukraine. They're worried about how they'll be treated when they're there. What would you say in defense of your homeland?
I will say, get to Ukraine. You will be amazed what kind of beautiful country is that, with great mentality and beautiful people. And we made everything possible that this European Championship is going to happen. We build up the infrastructure, streets, airports, hotels, and everything what any tourist and any guest will need. And there's a lot of volunteers that will make all the guests in the Ukraine feel comfortable. And I understand there's also something politically happening, that Yulia Tymoshenko, the former prime minister, is in prison.
And she's
but
very poorly.
you cannot boycotting it, because with boycotting you will definitely damage the sport, you will definitely damage the country, the development of the democracy in the country. You have to, either you're a politician or you're an athlete or you're a regular guest, you have to get in the country, you have to get in the conversation. You can go visit Ms. Tymoshenko in prison. You can make statements as a politician, make statements about the situation, but you have to get in the Ukraine, you have to get to the Ukraine. And I don't want to put the wrong picture on the country right now, because we talk about politics, and even boycotting hasn't been successful. 1980s with Olympic Games in Moscow, and then following games in Los Angeles.
Sure.
But I will just promise you one thing, you will have a lot of fun enjoying the games and enjoying the atmosphere of the Ukraine. And it's not that far to fly.
No, but the concern, I think, Vladimir, Theo Walcott's brother's been tweeting, actually. He said he and his father won't go because they're concerned about their physical safety.
There is no concerns about physical safety. You can go, and I promise you will have a lot of fun, and you don't need to be afraid, and you will have no regrets after you will leave the country. Instead, you will have a wish to come back. We have a lot of people from different countries are leaving, having their families in the Ukraine, and they're having great life. Why
don't you fight in the Ukraine rather than fighting in Germany?
Well, I fought in the Ukraine, and I fought in Germany, and I fought here in Great Britain, and in the United States. So the sport is global, and you obviously fighting everywhere. And I'm glad that we have fans everywhere, so we can present and deliver our performance in the ring.
Are you a football fan?
I'm a soccer fan, yes.
Were you watching football on Saturday night?
Of course I will.
And you saw, obviously, what happened with Chelsea playing against...
It's so painful, guys. It's so painful.
Oh, well, we'll just have to show it to you again. I'm
no, please,
sorry.
I don't want to see it.
Didier Drogba, he got that last kick.
I have to tell you, Andriy Shevchenko, a friend of mine, used to play at Chelsea, and Michael Ballack, who used to play at Chelsea. And, you know, I've been at Chelsea Stadium watching Chelsea playing with other teams.
Did you hate the penalty? Did you hate the penalty? Did you hate the penalty?
I hate it.
Here it comes.
I hate it.
Here it comes.
Yes. You're pushing the sore button right here.
Here we go.
No, I don't want to see it.
Oh, and there
you are putting me in the bad mood.
Kick of the game.
You're putting me in the bad mood. It's frustrating. You know what? I have to tell you. Chelsea didn't win the match, but Bayern lost it.
It doesn't matter. They've still got the medals.
I know it's
around their
sport,
neck.
that's why it's so exciting. I know.
Yeah, okay. So did you think going into the game that Munich would win?
I was so convinced and so sure that actually Munich going to win because they were playing in their own stadium. So usually it's a saying, you know, even walls going to help you if you're playing in your own comfortable area, and I was surprised. And actually, Bayern Munich played amazingly good. For the credit of Chelsea, the defense was also tremendous. And
this is them celebrating.
I know. but you know what? It was such a thriller, this game, and with the penalties at the end, I think, and prolongation of the time, and I think that this game gonna go in history.
Yeah. Now, final thought. I know so many people want to talk to you. You're such a charming, elegant man and such a command of English. What happens in your brain that switches when you get into a boxing ring where you want to pummel the other guy?
Well, I'm not the person in the ring right now, of course, and you have to drive yourself to this person, to the fighter, gladiator, whatever you can call it. And it takes time. So you're like an actor, so it takes time to get in this role, but it takes time also to get out of this role. And of course, when I'm in the ring, I'm a different person. Of course, I'm not wearing my suit, and I have different look as well.
Final thought about your mum. How does she cope when you're both fighting?
Well, she's not a boxing fan at all, and she hates it. She doesn't like it, but she's giving us her blessings, and she's wishing good luck in whatever we do. And by the way, because of the involvement of my brother in the politics, I think that boxing is actually not as dangerous as the politics. In boxing, you're going to get bloody nose or a black eye. In the politics, you could obviously get either dioxin in the foot or a bullet in the head. So it's not funny, and I'm really worried also about my brother being in the politics, but it makes me also happy because it makes him happy. That hasn't happened here for 200
years, so we don't tend to shoot our politicians here.
Yeah.
Maybe you can be a politician here instead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nowhere easy, and there's tons of examples in the history in different countries, and but it makes me feel happy because he's happy. He has a good view of the situation. He understands because he used to grow up in different countries, and he was going through a different system and mentalities and laws, and he sees Ukraine in a better way, and he wants to change it. And you know what? I'm supporting my brother, even if I'm not getting myself involved in the politics, but he does it, and I'm very supportive of him.
When are you fighting again? I'm
fighting on July 7th in Bern, Switzerland, and it's going to be another soccer stadium that's already sold out. It's going to be number 6 in a row. And it's really exciting. Can you imagine to fight not at a regular arena, but at the soccer stadium? It's really something very, very special. When thousands of fans are watching you and cheering you, or maybe against you. So things like that happened also a year ago in Hamburg. That half was pro my opponent, David Haye, and the other half, was for me. So, and that's why sport is exciting. It's also considering the game with Chelsea and Bayern Munich. So you never know. You have underdog, but eventually, things could change and could happen in an unpredictable way. And that's why live sport is so exciting.
Look after the handsome face, won't you, when you're in the ring? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
This
compliment from you made my day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, we're back in just a moment.